afternoon, Ray. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know I did, and I want to thank all of you guys who joined us for our music night on Friday with Wendy Wild and Ace. Thank you guys for contributing to that. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys showed up to that. Today I have J.C. Sheppard. He's joining us today. He is the founder of Wimkin Social Media. He held numerous IT leadership positions in major corporate healthcare before leaving the industry after observing irregularities in COVID testing and government reporting protocols. Jason's an entrepreneur, a free speech advocate who has launched numerous social media platforms to provide alternatives to combat big tech. And today I want to hear his story about what happened to him as he launched his Wimkin. And he's going to share some information about that you might not know about. Hey, I haven't heard about his social media platform except recently. So I am excited to learn more about him. So I hope you'll like, share, subscribe. We're also going to get in the headlines today. Maybe play a couple of videos that are funny, hopefully. But like, share, subscribe, repost. And hey, if you would like to contribute, this is a viewer/listener supported program. And if you'd like to contribute in any way, go ahead and do that right here in the Rumble chat. You can be a $5 monthly supporter here in the Rumble chat, or you can do that at locals at theambermayshow.locals.com. You could also make a donation on the website at theambermayshow.com. So thank you guys for supporting the program. I really appreciate you guys. And while you're at theambermayshow.com, you can podcast like pro. Major discounts have cut the prices. I've added a promo code, and you can save money right now by using promo code Amber. And then you can go ahead and check out the merchandise tab and check out some Amber May Show merch. Well, I can't wait to get the show going. So let's welcome some of my friends that I love supporting. If you haven't given God Signpost a like and a follow, please do so. The Michael Schwartz Show is next, so please give him a like and a follow if you haven't already. The Nunn Report was right before me, so give him a like and a follow if you haven't already. And then we have Patriots with Grit, Lady Hamilton Art, Common Censored, Live with Chris's World over on Podbean, The Old Man's Podcast, Crash and Burn, Pulse in Alaska, The Rolf Williams Show, Story and Strength, We Need to Talk with Nick B, Bella Forever. Go check out some of my friends over there. All right, let's get into the program, shall we?
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed, she won't back down, she's lighting the way, a beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land.
I just love that song. I am so grateful for the person who made it for me. So yeah, in a little while, we're going to get into our guest, J.C. Sheppard. I'm excited to have him on. I'm looking forward to hearing more about his social media platforms. But have you ever seen anything so cringe before? I can't believe someone thought this was a good idea. Or Gavin Newsom even said soon MAGA will have the whole new meaning coming soon for your next boat parade. You're very welcome, Patriots. This is so cringe, Gavin. Make America Gavin again? I'm sorry. I thought the devil was a Democrat. If the devil is a Democrat, I don't want anything to do with making America Gavin again, especially if you're going to burn down the country without having any way of stopping the fire. If you're going to raise taxes to an astronomical rate, drive out businesses from our nation, make us all poor, but give us drug needles so that we'll sleep in the street. If that's the America that you want, Gavin, I'm so sorry. I don't want anything a part of it. If you don't want to keep my country safe, just like you don't want to keep California safe, that's why you're talking to Donald Trump and saying, get the National Guard out of here. where you want to house illegal immigrants, the very dangerous illegal immigrants, using taxpayer money to fund their health care. Meanwhile, your own citizens that were born here or naturalized here have to pay astronomical rates for healthcare that are very unaffordable, but you want to use their tax money to give illegals free healthcare. Sorry, I don't want that kind of America. And so Donald Trump came, actually, it was J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, asked the question of the century: why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement, helping them clean up their streets, clean up their state? How come the Democrats in Washington, D.C. are in uproar because Donald Trump wants to make the streets of Washington, D.C. safe? How come the governor, Gavin Newsom, wants to get angry at Donald Trump for trying to make his state safe? I don't understand. So let's listen to what J.D. Vance is saying in the White House.
Roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with? It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think most Democrats, rank and file, nobody likes crime. Republicans don't like crime. Democrats don't like crime. Independents don't like crime. Why are Democratic governors doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities? It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But, Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help. And I hope these governors take you up on the offer, because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
Remember, Donald Trump's, one of his friends was New York's mayor, right? Giuliani, who cleaned up the streets of New York. Those are people that are associated with Donald Trump, low on crime, right? I don't know if I have the story. Let me see if I have the story queued up about the cartel, Mexican cartel, that are basically controlling Mexico and the leadership of Mexico. Did I get rid of that? Because I thought that was actually important, and I think I did get rid of that. Yeah, I did. I guess we're not going to show that video because I guess I changed my mind last minute. But, you know, there was a senator who went on to Fox, I think it was Fox, and talked about, well, let me see if I can find it. Scrolling with Amber May. Let me see if I can find it, because I guess it's pertinent to what we're talking about now. But I was like, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that. And basically, there was a senator from Mexico who was saying, if you want to get elected, the only way you're going to get elected is if you're in. Oh, here it is with the cartel. So Wall Street Apes is sharing this. A senator from Mexico went on Fox News to expose it all. The president of Mexico works for the cartel. She was funded by money from the cartel. It's not just the president. There's an entire group of Mexico politicians labeled as narco politicians. We want to clean up crime. Do you think this is infiltrating the United States? Why else? It doesn't make any sense. J.D. Vance said it right. The voting base of the Democrat Party, I highly doubt, wants to live in a crime-filled city, a crime-filled country. I think for the most part, they would be in favor of cleaning up their streets, their cities, their states. However, with the manipulation of the media, and I think we're going to get into this with J.C. Sheppard. I met a woman yesterday, lovely woman, and they are Hispanic. Like, the parents were born in Mexico. They naturalized here. Wonderful family. I think they're Christian. They sounded very Christian. However, the media has made them anti-cop just by her rhetoric. And little did she know, she was talking to a police family. We were very kind. They were buying furniture from us that we were selling. But everything that they said about, oh, my nephew was murdered by a cop. I don't know the whole story. Could that be true? Maybe, but cops don't go to work thinking, I'm going to shoot and kill someone today. Now, things happen in a blink of an eye. And often, like, either the cop is threatened, or I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. And then she was talking about her dad wanting to go back to Mexico. And then because he has dementia, if he wandered back up here, would the ICE agents put hands on him? I'm like, he's an old man. No, they're not going to put hands on him. Right. But the media has twisted everything to make it look like the cops hate them because they're Mexican, which is far from the truth. It had nothing to do with them being Mexican. The whole thing was about all of these, and we talked about it even with Adam, my overseas correspondent, how even over there, they're just in flooding. And in that case, it's mostly Muslims, right? But there's a lot of Muslims in flooding here too. There's Muslims, there's Hispanics, because you have we're really close to South America and Mexico and Central America. So we have a lot of Hispanics coming up, but also we have a lot of Muslims coming up too. It's not just Hispanics, and it's not just Mexicans. It's a whole bunch of people, right? They just flooded our nation, and a lot of reporting went on about that. The same thing's happening in Europe. It's a concerted effort. And because the media and the gatekeepers and the social media, the big tech, and we're going to get into the big tech, they were able to warp the minds of people. And they were able to make it look like our side is the bad side, and that we're going to hands on people, American citizens, because we just kidnap people off the street. Like, she was legitimately concerned about her elderly father with dementia somehow finding an ICE agent trying to cross the border and being confused, and then him being thrown. I'm like, no, that's if an ICE agent found him, because he only speaks Spanish, there would have been a Spanish speaker available, and they would have been able to eventually put things together. They wouldn't have put hands on him, but they would have found his relatives. They would have been kind to him and put him somewhere where he's safe. And it's just how frustrated I am about the whole manipulation of the media and the big tech censorship. Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break. Hey friends, if you're looking for a doctor you can trust, look no further than Dr. Stella, and you can find her at drstellamd.com. Let me show you one of the areas that I love about Dr. Stella. I enjoy supporting the immune system, especially when it comes to cold and flu season. And I love the COVID Light, the COVID Sleep, especially if you're having trouble sleep at night. Get that COVID Sleep. It'll help you so much. So not only are you supporting the immune system, but it also helps you get a good night's sleep. The COVID Spray is super easy. COVID Bites, these are my favorite, the COVID Bites. She has placed vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. And we all know that that zinc helps support the body's immune system, but zinc needs a delivery system. So that quercetin is the delivery system to drive that zinc in to help your body heal faster and feel better. Also has COVID vitamins for kids as well. Hey, and if you're looking to get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or you just feel under the weather and need a doctor you can trust, set up a telemed appointment with her. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber or Amber May, at checkout, whether you need your COVID Vites or a telemed appointment, you will save money at checkout. So don't forget to use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. So go visit drstellamd.com and then use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money.
Hey folks, Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb here, and you are watching the Amber May Show. Enjoy.
Okay, so when you are a guest at the Amber May's house, you get luxury. And how you get luxury is I have this sleeping couch, the sleeper sofa, and you're telling me that's not luxury. It is when you put a MyPillow mattress topper on it. All my guests that have come over and stayed at my house have really enjoyed this sleeper sofa, which says a lot because they're getting to sleep on the MyPillow pillows. And you get the MyPillow mattress topper, and then it doesn't stop there with the luxury, because when you shower at the Amber May Show's house, you get to have a MyPillow towel. I don't have the kids using it. I just let the adults have the luxury. So the adults get to use the MyPillows, and they're phenomenal. And right now, there's a massive sale going on with the MyPillow towels. So you should really put luxury into your home and live it every day like Amber May does every day. So I have a MyPillow mattress topper on my bed. I use the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow towels, the MyPillow slippers. I live luxury, and I don't have to pay the luxury price because MyPillow has promo code. So use my name, Amber, and save up to 66% off, and you can live luxurious as well. You are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress. So I guess while we're on the train about how it's shocking how so many governors are so angry about federal law enforcement cleaning up the state, the senator from Mexico talks about the cartel influencing the political agenda over there. So I guess let's take a listen to this video.
The president of Mexico is furious. She's calling Mexican Senator Letitia James a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians. That includes President Sheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding, saying, quote, "It's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention."
And, you know, we have the best money we have the best government money can buy too. And I hope that we don't get to the point that it's the cartels that are controlling our government. But you have to wonder if Gavin Newsom is so against Donald Trump coming up and arresting these cartel leaders and the cartel members, why? That you have to ask yourself, why would you be against that? So I hope it doesn't get as bad. And he wants to set the people free in Mexico so that they feel safe in their nation. In other Trump news, President Trump just signed an executive order withholding federal funding for states and cities using cashless bail. Again, you go to the question, why would any elected official welcome high crime in their state and city and think about using cashless bail? Doesn't make any sense. It does not make sense to me. Does it make sense to you in the chat? I'd like to know. You could also put it in the comments. Cashless bail. That's when big crime is in this country. Do we want to be like Mexico where we're not safe in our country? I hope that the people of Mexico get free from the people of the cartel. And I hope our country stays safe and that we rid ourselves of really heinous criminals in our country. But let's listen to this video about the cashless bail.
So I'll start signing the executive orders. To me, this is a very, very big deal. One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was when it happened. Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months. We'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And I mean, they kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street. Any street all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in DC, and that we have the right to do through federalization. Okay, let's go. Could I ask you to say exactly what this is?
Of course. So as you've consistently identified, sir, cashless bail policies are a key driver of the disorder we see on city streets all over America. Catch and release system allows criminals to keep going back out onto the street and reoffending. What this executive order does, it charges your attorney general with identifying jurisdictions all over the country that have cashless bail policies. And then it withholds or revokes federal funds and grants that are flowing to those jurisdictions to ensure that we're only supporting the people who have reasonable common sense policies around crime.
So what area does it cover?
Potentially anywhere that has a cashless bail policy. So some of the largest cities, some of the most left-wing states in America.
Almost all of them, right?
Illinois would be a great example of that, sir.
Oh, they have a great cashless bail. You don't even have to go to court sometimes. No, Illinois, I love that state. It's a great state, but it's run so badly by Pritzker. They threw him out of the family business and he becomes governor. Now he wants to run for president. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, we'll sign right here, right?
Sir.
So important. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way, most Democrats agree with us, but this is just, we got to bring our country back.
He has a nice signature, doesn't he? I agree. We need to bring our country back. We don't need to have a country like Mexico. Sorry, we just don't. So the top New York prosecutor hit Trump with a $454 million judgment, and the media cheered as the biggest takedown of his career. The gatekeepers, man, and people that listen to those news sources really do believe that Donald Trump is a criminal. And they can't understand why you and I would like him because he's a criminal. Why would you want a criminal to be a president? Well, turns out the biggest prosecutor in New York is also a criminal. Well, at least alleged criminal, I should say, with mortgage fraud. But it could flip. This entire case could flip. So according to NAS on X, Letitia James in New York, the attorney general in 2024, she won a massive case against Donald Trump, $454 million for business fraud, one of the biggest penalties ever imposed on a former president.
Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal. This long-running fraud was intentional, egregious, illegal, and he did all of this with the help of the other defendants, his 2 adult sons and senior executives at the Trump Organization. And so, after 11 weeks of trial, we showed the staggering extent of his fraud and exactly how Donald Trump and the other defendants deceived banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions for their own personal gain. We proved just how much Donald Trump, his family, and his company unjustly benefited from his fraud. Today, the court, once again, ruled in our favor and in favor of every hard-working American who plays by the rules. Donald Trump and the other defendants were ordered to pay $463.9 million. That represents $363.9 million in disgorgement, plus $100 million in interest, which will continue to increase every single day until it is paid.
They were trying to bankrupt him. And the Department of Justice just opened a criminal investigation into Letitia herself. Federal prosecutors claim she violated Trump's civil rights when she prosecuted him. They're using a law that's never been used like this before. It makes a crime for an official to violate constitutional rights. For 150 years, it's been used against cops who abuse their power, but never against prosecutors. But the plot goes deeper.
Often referred to as the statutory penalty for officials who commit deprivation of rights under color of law is governed primarily by federal law, specifically under 18 U.S. Code Section 242. This statute, often referred to as the color of law statute, provides for criminal penalties against any person acting under color of any law who willfully deprives another person of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. 18 U.S. Code Section 242. Statutory penalty. Whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both.
So of all the cases investigated under this law, 92 to 99% of them get dropped. Why? Because conviction requires proving willful intent. Not that Letitia was aggressive, not that she was wrong, but she deliberately violated the Constitution. The DOJ has issued a deep dive into Letitia. They want everything: internal emails, case files, staff communications, plus records from her NRA lawsuit against Wayne LaPierre. And they're looking for something specific.
And we have breaking news. Federal prosecutors have issued subpoenas to New York Attorney General Letitia James. Sources tell ABC News the subpoenas are related to her office's civil fraud case against President Trump and a corruption case against the National Rifle Association. The Department of Justice declined to comment. Now James's attorneys calling it a dangerous escalation and part of a political retribution campaign by the president. Chief Investigator.
You realize they admit that they did something wrong against Donald Trump, because why would you want retribution unless something was done wrong to you?
Correspondent Aaron Katersky is here with more on that. Aaron, what do we know so far?
We know these subpoenas were issued by the Northern District of New York. This is in Albany, and they were issued to the Attorney General's office seeking information about two of her cases. The one you mentioned, Diane, the civil fraud case against President Trump that resulted in a $500 million judgment that he is still appealing. The other case involves the office's lawsuit against the National Rifle Association that forced former head Wayne LaPierre to cough up more than $4 million after James alleged corruption and misappropriation of funds. The two cases were successful. Now, federal prosecutors, we're told, are subpoenaing for information to see whether James, in the course of those cases, violated the civil rights of either the president or the NRA.
So it's a pattern. Did Letitia target conservatives for political reason? That's what federal prosecutors are trying to prove. Meanwhile, Letitia's hired Abe Lowell, one of America's top defense attorneys. His response was fierce.
So I mentioned that Abby Lowell is the attorney she's hired. Now, he's well known for taking on high-profile clients who are in big trouble, people like Hunter Biden, for instance, although he also represented Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. But here's what Abby Lowell has to say about this case.
You know, if you have a file on your house, bunches of pieces of paper, and one of those pieces of paper say that it was a residence when it was an investment property or vice versa, but every other piece of paper in the same file makes that clear, so that you have one that might have had a box checked wrong, that's not the subject of a criminal investigation or case.
Because she's accused of falsifying mortgage documents in order to get a more favorable interest rate. Now, Abby Lowell says it's just a slip of the pen. How do you see it? So I mentioned that Abby Lowell.
Slip of the pen, I'm sure. This is more blatant example of political retribution. He says they're ready with facts and law, but the damage is already spreading beyond Letitia, huh?
Separately, a so-called special attorney has been assigned to investigate mortgage fraud allegations against Letitia James. Her office responded saying they stand behind its successful litigation of the Trump Organization. And Letitia James's lawyer, Abby Lowell, released a statement saying, quote, investigating the fraud case Attorney General James won against President Trump and his businesses has to be the most blatant and desperate example of this administration carrying out the president's political retribution campaign.
They keep telling you what they've already done to him. They're calling it retribution. You only feel like you have to go after someone if you've been wronged, right? You've been wronged. So they keep blaming that. They keep telling us the quiet part out loud that, yeah, we went after him. It was a political motivated event. They keep using the word retribution. They're telling on themselves.
Campaign. Weaponizing the Department of Justice to try to punish an elected official for doing her job is an attack on the rule of law and a dangerous escalation by this administration.
Rules for radicals. Accuse your opponent of what you are doing and making them defendant. So what they did to Donald Trump is they weaponized the Department of Justice. They also did that with the January 6ers. They tried to punish an elected official for doing his job, and an attack on the rule of law, a dangerous escalation by their administration. They are accusing Donald Trump of what they are doing, and they want Donald Trump to defend it. I don't think so, but they like to spin it, don't they? I think we need to have a little bit of fun. It's been kind of like heavy, and I think it's time to have a little fun. And I found this video. Let's see. I found this video of of what appears to be Seinfeld. So this is going to be funny. At least I hope. I hope you guys find this funny, because I kind of did.
Hi. You might not know it to look at me, but I can run really, really fast.
How'd it go with that girl?
Great. I'm going out with her tomorrow night.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Tim.
What's up?
Actually, I'm having dinner with the girl I met at your party.
Mazel tov.
Jerry?
Hi.
Kamala?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes, sir. Come on, our table's ready.
So attractive one day, not attractive the next.
Have you come across this?
Yes, I am familiar with this syndrome. She's a two-face.
Hey.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
You're expecting someone else?
You never know.
You might have to have the channel.
So, what do you feel like eating, Chinese or Italian?
I could go either way.
You're telling me.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will speak with my guest, JC Sheppard. Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now, I'm going to take a quick break. One of my other good friends, Dr. Artis, he has this healing conference coming up. Dr. Artis, Dr. Group, Ely, and Schmidt, they come together for something greater than themselves, each bringing something unique and powerful to the stage, a healing message, not just of hope for humanity's future, but a definitive pathway that everyone is capable of walking in order to transform disease and darkness into bright, shiny, healthy light. They will teach you how to take control of your own health by sharing natural, simple healing solutions for the whole family. So the conference is coming up October 23rd through the 25th. It's in Dallas, Texas, on October 23rd through the 25th. If you go to healingfortheages.com and use promo code AMBER, you're going to save money at checkout.
I'm Jason Jones with Newsmax, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
And hey, if you haven't made the switch to Patriot Mobile, why not? They're the only Christian conservative cell phone carrier out there. Have access to all 3 major networks. Keep your name, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. With 100% U.S. customer service base, it makes switching easy. And the best part is, when you use my name, Amber, you're going to get a free month of service. So go to patriotmobile.com/Amber or call 972-PATRIOT and let them know Amber sent you. That's again, patriotmobile.com/Amber or 972-PATRIOT and get that free month of cell phone service. You are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress. JC, it's so good to have you on my program. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You know, I found your story a little bit fascinating. Like I said in the intro, you worked in IT for major healthcare corporations, and now you're busy fighting for free speech with a lot of these social media platforms that you've created. I'd love to get the backstory. Like, what made you leave the world of IT to start fighting for our freedom of speech?
Well, I'll truncate this long story into as little as I can. But obviously, so in September of 2019, I was working for the second largest health insurance / health network for my tri-state area. We're talking about 2,300 primary care physicians and, over 10,000 specialists. So lots and lots of people we were, dealing with. And first and foremost, September of 2019, we were spearheaded as a, business analyst IT department to put together new testing protocols for primary care physicians only, 2,300 of them, for 130,000 tests. And not only that, we had to also write a backdoor reporting system to the county health departments. So this was obviously COVID. How we knew about that in September of 2019 didn't sit very well with me, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I went to my seniors and said, something's not right here, what's going on? And then we finally started administering the tests. And then the way that I work, I was the individual who went and actually trained staff, medical staff, clinical, on the new system updates. And the way that I, pretty much run my life is, here, call me directly. Don't call into the 1-800 number because it'll take you 20 minutes and you're a doctor. You shouldn't have to wait. So they started calling me after they started administering tests, and they're saying they're all coming back positive because of testing for any type of coronavirus, which you and I probably have at least one right now that we would report, as positive for. So I left. I started Wimkin Social Media, which was actually sort of
because the testing was flawed.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that what we were seeing, the fear mongering, everything, I wanted to tell that story first and foremost. I wanted people to tell their story. So we started something called World Must Know Now first, in honor of basically free speech and all the stories. And then it got so big to 30,000 visitors a day that people wanted more. So that's actually how Wimkin came to light. That, the fact that, President Trump was, censored as a seated president. And, Facebook shut down hashtags like Save the Children, calling them domestic terrorism. So that's how Wimkin came to be born.
I love that. A lot of the things that are passionate for you or things that you care about are the same things that I care about. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show. Because just like, many others, I was censored too, especially on Facebook, man. I am still shadow banned on Facebook. My page cannot grow. It's refusing. Facebook refuses. And when X was owned by the former owner, I couldn't grow on X. I'm just barely able to grow now with Elon Musk being in charge of X. It's been slow, but it's a lot faster than what it was before because Elon did a thread one time where posted something and I responded. And right after I responded to that, things started shifting on my X account. And then YouTube banned me, kicked me off for exposing the things you were talking about, the child trafficking, the truth about COVID, and because I live in Maricopa County, the elections, right? So they couldn't have that anymore. And it's been so frustrating. So it's been so nice to have places like Rumble that allow me to be on there without censorship. And now finding out about your network, this is really cool. That's another reason why I wanted to have you, because I haven't heard of your networks before. I came across this Fox article and I wanted to get your take on it. And then I have a couple of truth social posts from Donald Trump. But I'll first talk about this since you're into free speech and you have your own platform now. What is your viewpoint based on what we're seeing in social in just mainstream media? Because what the FCC is saying, they seek to shift power from national programmers to local broadcasters and public interest. So what they're saying is the trusted legacy media allegedly crumbling. FCC Commissioner Carr suggested the solution is clear: shift influence away from the national gatekeepers and back into local hands. Something has to change, she said. The FCC is charged with making sure the broadcast media, not cable. So I think it's one of the things that we're pushing for is how do we re-empower these broadcasters who actually serve the interests of local communities? Well, so much of this now is driven by national programmers, whether it's ABC, CBS, or NBC. So one of the things they're trying to do at the FCC is to empower local constraint, the power of national programmers so that these broadcasters can actually serve their local community. What do you think about the whole media in general? And what do you think about what the FCC is trying to do?
Well, I think it's long overdue, first and foremost, because, if you go back, probably the best, I guess, indication of the worst the media has ever been started roughly in 2015, when people said, oh my gosh, Trump might actually be able to pull this nomination out. Not only just the nomination, but the election. So, you've seen a completely different media in the last decade, 100%. It's all slanted. It's all fake news, mostly in legacy media. So I think this is amazing. I mean, it's great for the small podcasters. It's great for people that actually do research and aren't getting paid by super PACs and, allowing, if you remember in the 2016 election cycle, the DNC was literally editing Hillary Clinton's speeches, against Bernie Sanders and such, and they were allowing them to slander Bernie. So, lots of things you've seen since that point in time. But I mean, it's gotten worse and worse and worse, obviously, over the years with, looking at some of these legitimate investigations right now that are completely, to start with the Hunter Biden laptop story that the media called, oh, this is 100% fake. The 150 plus intelligence signatures that they reported on, that was all exposed as fake. And you're not seeing that covered anywhere. You're not seeing any of Tulsi Gabbard's investigations. You're not seeing any of Kash Patel's, you're only seeing negative slants on the Epstein files. It's probably worse than ever, to be honest with you, because they're trying to get the midterms, go to Democratic ways. So I love this. I think it's amazing. I love the fact when you see USAID go away, immediately you see 6, I can't give them a good reputation as a show, but I guess shows on MSNBC, CNN that had maybe at least 50,000 viewers, they are shut down. The biggest, obviously, is Stephen Colbert. I mean, they didn't just cancel Colbert, they canceled the entire franchise. So, it shows you where that USAID money was going first and foremost. Then the defunding from taxpayers, they don't have to pay the $1.5 billion anymore into this ridiculous slanted media. So I think this is one of the greatest things for our country that goes under the radar, of course, unless the media wants to actually report on it in a slanted manner. But it's great for everyone, and it's great for going back to potentially maybe the Walter Cronkites again when actually things were told correctly.
Speaking of media that's gone under since USAID stopped, it's interesting because Arizona's primary newspaper, which was super slanted, is the Arizona Republic. And now it's going away. Like, it's gone. Crazy. I was like, people were starting to put that together. Like, that's what was keeping that afloat all these years. Was that now Donald Trump had this, he posted a few things on Truth. And I thought it was just kind of relevant to what we're talking about, freedom of speech, gatekeepers. And he said, why is ABC and NBC fake news? I wish I could do his voice. Two of the absolute worst and most biased networks anywhere in the world aren't paying millions of dollars a year in license fees. They should lose their license for their unfair coverage of Republicans and or conservatives. But at a minimum, they should pay up big for having privilege of using the most vulnerable, valuable airways anywhere at any time. Crooked journalism should not be rewarded and it should be terminated. And he had one more thing to say about crooked journalism. Man, we finally had a man who stood up and started exposing all this. And he was true. It's true. I mean, what he's saying about the news, despite a high popularity, and according to many among the greatest 8 months in presidential history, ABC and NBC fake news, two of the worst and most biased networks in history, give me 97% bad stories. If that is not the case, they are simply an arm of the Democrat Party and should, accordingly to many, have their license revoked by the FCC. I would be totally in favor of that because they are so biased and untruthful as accurate threats to our democracy and MAGA. So I assume this is kind of also what led you to wanting to start your own company, because were you also censored from your website? Have you been censored building your social media networks like Wimkin?
Oh my goodness. So I think what your viewers should do and you yourself should do is go to jcsheppard.com and then go to Jace's Fight for You, because we were banned by both app stores 3 days after Parler was. Okay, we were the #1 trending app on both in terms of popularity and downloads. Wimkin at roughly 300,000 users was banned and deplatformed by Apple. First and foremost was because we were making money. We were doing very well with their ad mob program. Secondly, we are designed like Facebook. We were the first real viable free speech platform that actually has something more than tweeting or doing audio voices. You can live stream, from the app, breaking news. You could live stream to our platform. You could do your whole show there. You could do through, I know you use StreamYard, just right to our RTMP code, just like Rumble. We've been doing this since, September of 2020. We were banned January 12th and January 15th of 2021, blamed for the alleged insurrection. And guess what? 6 and 9 days after Biden's inauguration. So the timing obviously is right there. But yeah, we were banned by the app stores. You can look up all the links in Legacy Media. And then the kicker is once we, fought for 8 months and got our entrance back into the app stores, the House Select Committee basically kicked our door in and blamed us for the alleged insurrection. They wanted to dictate how our platform was run. They didn't want us to allow any users to delete their accounts. They wanted every single piece of every single user's information. We're talking all their data, and they wanted us to we didn't even accept credit cards. They were asking for credit card numbers, phone numbers, text messages. Oh yeah, those demand letters, there's 2 instances of them. They're on jcsheppard.com under JC's Fight for You. And I actually exhibited the actual PDF files signed by Benny Thompson himself, as well as Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, and you won't believe what's on there. I mean, they literally said, we want every single piece of information that you have to give up on your platform. You cannot allow people to delete their accounts. If you're not willing to do this and not willing to keep this private, let us know. We let them know. We're not cooperating with you, and we didn't give them anything.
And then did you guys face any consequences for that?
Surprisingly, no. We had an amazing attorney, Michael Corey, out of California. He's also the individual spearheading our class action lawsuit and helping us with the Digital Free Speech Reparations Act of 2025, which we're hearing that Trump might name the fake news bill. So I love that. But
so we should keep out our ear for that, the fake news bill.
Well, it's something that needs to happen because
Yeah.
this is specifically like the only individual that actually, or I should say, honestly, publication too, that reported on us correctly was David Uberti from the Wall Street Journal. He called me. He said, "Hey, do you want to talk about this and tell me what's really going on?" And I said, "Sure." I sent him all the emails from Apple and Google Play. I sent them their demands. I said that this is what we offered to do for them, and none of it was changing anything. So they wrote a really good story on us. It was fair and balanced, which is, I think that's Fox News's motto. But
That
Fox News never did
surprised me
anything.
about the Wall Street Journal that they gave you actually a good piece. Wow.
Well, this gentleman, I believe, was tech only, so really he could only tell one true story. But I was very impressed with him, and I've seen some of his other writing, and he does seem just to not put opinion on it. He truly just says, "This is what happened. This is what they asked them to do. This is what Wimkin was willing to do." And Apple was not okay with that. Google Play was not okay with that. So basically, just told the facts.
And we just talked about gatekeepers, and you know what? No one's really talking about the gatekeepers of social media. The only way apps get on our phone is through either Apple or Google. So not only can they censor us from social media posts, just like I talked about a few minutes ago, but they can literally stop freedom of speech by not allowing us to download social media apps that will like yours, for instance, like Parler. I mean, that was a big deal because I had just found out about Parler during all this time. I downloaded the Parler app, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't work. And then I'm finding out all this stuff about the Google, Apple Play stores and how to. I was so angry at this point because no matter where I turned, they were really trying to stop truth from getting out. And it was frustrating for me because I had so much information I needed to share with people. I didn't want people taking the shot and harming themselves. I didn't want people like thinking that this election system was free and fair. I wanted to expose it all. And everywhere I was going, I was being stopped. And it was so frustrating. But then there was like little cracks that would open, like the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, he started opening platforms, and Truth Social showed up. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm hearing about Rumble. My friend started pickaxe.com. And now I found out about this new one. I mean, it's not probably that new, but it's new to me because I didn't know about it. That's why I wanted to have you on, because if I didn't know about it, maybe others didn't. And I want to give other people the opportunity to check out your platform, which is Wimkin, right? Wimkin.com.
Yep, it stands for World Must Know Now. And our logo, if you look at it, the people are the eyes, because we couldn't just put an app in as WMKN. It just wouldn't work. But it does stand for World Must Know Now in honor of free speech. And the eyes that are in there are a man and a woman for two genders. We have messaging in our logos, but I mean, you hit that on the head. We truly, honestly, we never had a chance to grow. They made sure that you guys did not know about us. And we were only a company for 4 months. We only had Trump for really 2 months before he lost the election.
Right.
Okay. And then, but from there, we had an outgoing administration, and then obviously 6 days into it, here comes big tech to shut us down. But yeah, Wimkin it's unbelievable. It's something that truly, once people come to it, they literally won't leave. And again, you could do anything. I do want to caution you one thing though. Parler that everybody went to, that was a major honeypot. Parler is probably responsible for over 500 arrests for January 6ers. I don't think many people know about this. All you have to do is Google the number 8, TB for terabyte, and type in Parler's name, Parler, and you will see what they did. They allowed they shut down basically all their security on January 6th and after January 6th to have hackers go in and scrape the metadata. So it showed people specific coordinates for GPS within the Capitol, around the Capitol, even at their homes. I mean, it's social media security 101. And, I love Dan Bongino. I'm not saying anything bad about this. I just think he got a really raw deal by being the face of that platform. His motto was fight big tech tyranny. They were back in the App Store in 2 weeks. That's not fighting big tech tyranny. That's literally saying, okay, we will capitulate to exactly what you want us to do. So I'd like people to really know that story, and they need to be able to trust conservatives. They can't fall for things like this again, because luckily that whole situation seems to be ending now with pardons and you know, maybe there'll be some reparations as well. But, you know, it's something the conservatives really need to be smart about. They can't just jump to the next best thing. Why did Parler want your ID and not have you black out anything? Why did they want that just to use basic, you know, services? Why did John Matz come from AWS as a mid-level executive? That's the same company that deplatformed them. I mean, there's so many things that conservatives need to ask. I've warned about that for years
Wow, I
before.
didn't know any of this stuff. I mean, once they got deplatformed, I never went back. Actually,
Yeah.
I met at a Turning Point Action event last December. I met one of the new owners of Parler, and he was like trying to get me to get back on the net on his platform. And he had a booth across from mine, and they were streaming with this really beautiful girl streaming and encouraging people to get back on Parler, but I never did after the takedown. So I'm glad now because I'm learning about this stuff. I didn't know about that before.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because you always want conservatives to be able to move to, you know, safe places and obviously continue their movement. And that was one of the worst things in history for us that people still don't know about. So I like to tell that story as well. But yeah, I mean,
I was surprised to see you in the press release having to go speak to the select committee. I'm like, what does his app have anything to do with the select committee? And now I'm like hearing about this. I'm like, holy smokes. And then they wanted the credit card information. Remember when the Democrats were up in arms about Elon Musk doing like his Doge stuff with Social Security?
Absolutely.
Oh, he's going to take everybody's money. One of the most wealthiest men on the planet is going to take your Social Security. Give me a break. But it wouldn't surprise me if they started wanting to use that information and possibly debank conservatives, because conservatives were getting debanked like crazy. And I was going to talk about it. But I might as well bring it up now because Rasmussen was bringing it up about the debanking that's going on with conservatives. And so when you said that they wanted our credit card information, I'm thinking, why, to debank us? So this Rasmussen report says voters favor action to stop debanking. The practice of debanking ought to be illegal, most voters believe, and they support actions by Congress and President Trump to stop it. The latest Rasmussen report, National Telephone and Online Survey, finds 63% of likely U.S. voters think Congress should pass a law against debanking, a term for when banks refuse to transact businesses with some customers because of their political activities or religious beliefs. I thought there was already a law like that. You can't discriminate based age, race, sex, all that stuff. But do we now need to add political beliefs behind that? I mean, I know like Mike Lindell was debanked. I know there was a lot of things that I couldn't use even on the free side, such as like email platforms to get started with emailing with my newsletter, because I started talking about conservative stuff. I have friends that were debanked. I think President Trump was debanked at one point. There was a lot of conservatives that were debanked. And do you suspect, and I know you can only guess at this point, do you suspect that maybe they wanted to collect credit card information to do that? Because why else would Congress need your users' credit card info? What are they going to do? Start paying themselves with our credit card bills? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, so interesting enough, Mike Lindell and I have partnered very recently on fentanyl testing, as well as you know, with him and his companies with Wimkin. So Mike, I know his story extremely well. He's probably the poster child for what happened, but at the same time, we were debanked. We were debanked by two banks. One was Capital One. We were debanked from credit cards, Capital One and Discover. And you know, realistically, it's still happening. I mean, like you're mentioning, probably the constant contacts and the MailChimps of the world that wouldn't let you utilize because of your content. They're literally reading it and making sure that it doesn't go against, you know, any big tech narrative.
Right.
So all of that you just mentioned is in my Digital Free Speech Reparations Act of 2025, to where we asked Congress to set aside from big tech $500 billion in reparations, as well as to have legislation in there to where they can never do this again. You know, unless you're breaking the law, that's really the only way they should be able to actually shut you down. So we have that covered, and hopefully, you know, Congress has been out of recess, obviously, since we've come up with this bill and since we've announced this bill. But I've already spoken to 9 that are interested in, you know, sponsoring this and bringing it to light. So, you know, I made sure that we covered that so they can't do this again.
Oh, that's wonderful. Is your bill sitting in a committee somewhere, or is it still being drafted? Tell me where the process of this bill is.
So it's been drafted. It's been sent to a select few Congress members right now, representatives that, again, are they're all out on recess. So I have to wait until they come back in. But I have two that are already discussing this within their teams. And there's so much motivation behind to get this sponsored and in. So maybe by mid-September to late September, you'll see this.
I hope so, because I've been like sponsoring, not me. I go to my legislator and we write a bill together, and he has to sponsor, right? And I just know the process here, and sometimes it's very frustrating because you're dealing with people even in your own party sometimes that want to fight you. But then you have the opposite party too, and sometimes it could get so frustrating. But there's all these steps. And in a way, it's kind of a beautiful thing that there's all these steps, that they can't just make these laws out of nowhere, right? So it's a long process. You learn a little bit from Schoolhouse Rock, but they don't really get into the nitty gritty of it, right? So it goes to a committee, sometimes a couple committees before it'll go in front of the whole entire body of either the House or the Senate. And then it has to go to the other side and start all over again. So at any point in time, your bill could die. So it's a very nerve-wracking time when you're trying to write legislation. It's not easy. And I applaud you for trying. That's amazing.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, once people actually see what we've gone through, they're going to see that, we too are a poster child for this. We were on pace to probably have 50 million users right now. And we were only able to grow to under 10 so far because we were banned for 9 months. We were number one. Our most signups in one day was 50,000.
Wow.
We've lost we were making 1,500 to 300,000 a day with one banner ad on just our app that was non-intrusive. It was just there. People didn't really even know it was there, but Google AdMob was paying us to do that because we were getting so much traffic and so many people seeing it. So now that we have 9 million users and you extrapolate that out, the loss is staggering. I mean, you really can't put a number on it. We just want the big tech, big banking, big tech advertisers, we want them to pay because they've ruined people's lives based on selling Trump t-shirts, selling American flags, talking about a narrative that isn't good. The best place to find out all about me, my personal website, jcsheppard.com, just like you see it on, the chyron below. And all my socials are there, and you can certainly sign up for Wimkin there.
Okay. Well, thank you, JC, for spending time with us today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today on the Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social Amber May, Frank Socially Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on the Amber May Show.